first heard, we knew this guy was going to get massively overpaid.
Yeah.
But from my point of view, this is absolutely asinine, ridiculous. I don't know what other adjective I could use, but I'll let you make your opinion. Maybe you're a big Juan Soto guy.
I mean, obviously he's a great player. Obviously, you would take him on your team. I do think the money is just staggering, and good luck to the Mets. Um, I mean, he's going to be good for them, and maybe he can help turn that franchise around and turn it. I know they went to all the way to the NLCS this year. Um, so they've got some things going for them, but the last few years they haven't been able to consistently win, and they had all the questions surrounding their slugging first baseman Pete Alonso. Are they going to re-sign him or not? They had all these questions, and then boom, they give they give a world record setting contract to Juan Soto. And I'm just not sure on a couple levels. I mean, they give him more than Shohei Ohtani. First off, I would take Ohtani in a heartbeat over Soto for various reasons. I think he's, obviously he's a unique player. He pitches, he hits, he's productive every time. Every time with Ohtani, you have high expectations. It seems like he exceeds them. And, we'll see what Soto does. He didn't exceed expectations during his time in San Diego. And like we talked about, he's a great hitter, great on base percentage guy, but he's not going to run the bases that well for you. He doesn't steal bases. He's not going to help you in defensively. So I do think, number one, to give that guy a record-setting contract is a risk, but also, baseball, it's not like the NBA where you get LeBron James and you can get two other guys and you get a championship team. I mean, you got money to seed the rest of your roster. And, the Mets have roster issues, even though they did play in the NLCS this year. I mean, they got to figure out some pitching stuff. If they lose Pete Alonso, if they don't re-sign him, they've got first base issues and middle of the lineup issues that they're going to have to figure out in addition to Juan Soto. So, but part of it is, their ultra rich owner, Steve Cohen, he wants to get some of that attention in New York back from the Yankees. And, that's the one unique aspect in New York. The Mets are always trying to take the back pages away from the Yankees and the tabloids. And one other thing, the Mets attendance has declined over the last couple of years quite a bit. So, aside from the baseball stuff, Steve Cohen is trying to juice that franchise and make it relevant and put some buzz into it.
From your standpoint, what do you know about Juan Soto as a teammate? I thought he was a little bit energy sucking here in San Diego with his teammates.
Yeah, I do think we got a guest star here.
You got a little friend back there.
Yes, Mavis. That's Mavis.
All right.
Yeah. Excuse me. Soto, in 2019, he was fine with the Nationals when they won the World Series, and he helped them get to the World Series, helped them win the World Series. But I thought same thing. He was energy sucking in San Diego. And, when you put a bunch of alpha dogs into a clubhouse, I mean, you had him, you had Manny Machado, you had Xander Bogaerts, you had, all kinds of, when you get those alpha dogs, sometimes those personalities don't mesh. And, we'll see, with the Mets. I mean, when you give Soto that kind of money, I mean, he's going to be the king of that clubhouse. So everybody's going to have to, kind of fall in line behind him. So maybe it's better there than in some other cities. He seemed fine with Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton with the Yankees last year. Obviously, they had a really good year. And, as much as I think with the Padres, they were better this year once they got rid of Juan Soto. I mean, obviously he helped the Yankees. So, we'll see what he does with the Mets. But I think when you give that kind of money to that guy, you're designated him. You're the guy. So in terms of him getting along with the rest of the clubhouse, we'll see. But he's also going, while I say everybody's going to have to fall in line behind him, he's also going to have to set a winning tone, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I don't know if he's that type of guy, to be honest with
Right.
you. I mean, to this point in his career, I haven't been real impressed with his leadership skills.
No, not I mean, because again, with the Yankees last year, I mean, Aaron Judge is the clear leader on that team.
What about Lindor with the Mets?
Yeah, and that's another good point too. So, one thing I don't know, and I'll find out, but Soto and Lindor, what their relationship is, if any. I mean, maybe they've gotten to know each other, behind the scenes and over the years, and maybe they're good friends, maybe there's a rivalry there. We'll see how that goes. But you're right. I mean, Lindor is the leader of the Mets. I think even you could argue maybe Pete Alonso a little bit in the last couple of years, but I think it's hard to get away when you're a shortstop like Lindor playing that premium position. Lindor's the guy that was in the MVP talk at the end of last year before he hurt his back. He kind of made that late charge. He's the leader. So, we'll see how it goes.
All right, Scott, let's bring it back home here to the Padres a little bit. What are you hearing? And we talked with AJ a little bit the other night, but we were gonna, question him up and down. It sounded like, he's content with Bogarts playing shortstop if something doesn't else, pop up via a trade. But what are you hearing on the Padres right now? And you think they'll be active this week, or you think he and his staff are just kind of going through the feeling out process, possibly for some trades?
Well, I think probably a combination of things. I think it's a little too early in the winter for AJ to be too active. But that said, we know he's got a long enough track record in San Diego. We know he's going to be active this winter. I mean, he does not sit and just say, "Well, we're throwing last year's team out onto the field next year." I mean, he's creative. He checks every single trail available to him. So he'll be active. I just think this week, not so much, because, if they were spending the money like they did a couple of years ago, then maybe he'd be active this week. But I think in their position where, they're not having to cut like they did last year, but it's not like they're going to go out and sign another $300 million player. So I think, he'll be very active in talks this week. I don't anticipate a lot of signings or trades or roster maneuvering from him until a little bit later in the winter after some, Soto and some others find their homes. Then you check the landscape when everybody else is looking to see what else is left, what else is out there. To me, that's when I think AJ is going to strike this winter.
Okay, I got to go back to Soto just for a minute.
Yeah,
I got this on my mind, okay? I said before you came on, if Fernando Tatis Jr. could ever stay healthy for 150 games, I think he's a better player than Soto. He can do more. He's already led a league in home runs. He hit 42 home runs, one more than Soto hit last year for the Yankees, which was his career high. Fernando hit 42. He's not won just a gold glove. He's won a platinum glove. He can steal bases. He got a cannon arm. He can do it all. I think the Padres got the better guy. The problem is he can't stay healthy.
Yeah, that's the thing. And that's always really since Fernando's rookie year, right? I mean, he had the stress reaction in his lower back. He had the shoulder subluxation thing. And then this year he had the stress reaction in the femur. That's the big worry with Tatis. And that's all had me concerned from the beginning. And what is he, 24 now? I mean,
he'll be 26. Him and Soto are very close in the same age.
So, but I bring that up because, 24, 26, whatever, mid-20s, to have two stress reactions in your bones, your lower back a few years ago, and then the femur this summer, that's a bit of a red flag for me. If you're in your mid-20s, your bones should be holding together better than that. So that to me is the biggest thing going forward with Tatis is going to be his health. I agree with everything you just said about if you give me a choice, a healthy Tatis, nothing else to worry about. Healthy Tatis, healthy Soto. I take Tatis for reasons you just said. He's a legit 5-tool player. Juan Soto, I don't think is. His arm, his defense, his base running.
He's an awful base runner. He really is.
Yeah. He's not great. I agree. You're right. I think I thought the trade about a year ago when AJ sent Soto to the Yankees, I mean, getting Michael King back, getting Higashioka back. I mean, they picked the Yankees pocket. I know it sounds silly because Soto MVP talk, all that stuff, and he helped him. But for what the Padres needed when they were cutting salary, I mean, he got 3-4 players that produced last year versus just one in Soto. And, Soto, yeah, he's just not as well-rounded as Tatis. And I would take Tatis. Like I said, the big question is going to be the health.
I said earlier, AJ ended up winning that trade. He won
Yeah.
that trade because Michael King was dynamic. Then one of the guys they got in that deal, Drew Thorpe, they packaged him to go to the White Sox to get
Cease.
Dylan Cease,
Yep.
along with Higashioka and the entire crew. Padres won that trade.
Yeah, I agree with you. Totally did. I mean, if they don't, put it this way, if they don't make that trade and they had Soto last year and not the other guys, I don't think they would have won 90 games.